Imagine building a $1 trillion empire only to realize that a company founded less than 10 years ago could destroy everything you have spent decades creating. This isn't a movie, it actually happened. It's a reality, it's a true story. Google spent over 20 years becoming the world's gateway to information. Apple changed how many of people use technology. Microsoft dominated personal computing and Meta reshaped social media. Amazon built the backbone of the internet. These companies are worth trillions of dollars. And they are $1 trillion club. They employ hundreds of thousands of the smartest engineers on earth. And for years they competed with one another. But today they are all chasing the same company. A company that almost failed. A company whose own CEO was fired and returned just days later, even more powerful than before. That company is OpenAI. Welcome to By Sachinz, where we uncover the stories behind the world's biggest companies, groundbreaking innovations, and the decisions that change history forever. Most people think OpenAI became famous because of ChatGPT, but that's the only half of the story. The real reason every tech giant fears OpenAI has almost nothing to do with the chatbot. It has everything to do who will control the next generation of technology. $1 trillion companies suddenly entered panic mode. To understand why, we have to go back to 2015. Back then, artificial intelligence wasn't a household topic. Most people were busy talking about smartphones, social media, cryptocurrencies, and self-driving cars. AI sounded futuristic, interesting, but still years away from everyday life. A group of entrepreneurs, engineers, researchers came together with an ambitious idea. Instead of allowing one corporation to build super intelligent AI behind closed doors, why not create an organization dedicated to developing AI that benefits all of humanity? That idea became OpenAI. Ironically, it wasn't even created as a traditional business. It began as a non-profit research lab. Its mission wasn't to make billions of dollars. Mission was to build AGI, artificial general intelligence, capable of nearly doing any intellectual task a human can. At first, hardly anyone paid attention. Compared to giants like Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon, OpenAI looked teeny. A small research lab. There were no blockbuster products, launches, no popular consumer apps, no $1 trillion valuation. Just researchers quietly publishing papers and building increasingly powerful AI. Meanwhile, the rest of the tech world looked untouchable. Google dominated search, Apple ruled smartphones, Meta controlled social media, Amazon powered the internet, and Microsoft owned enterprise software. From the outside, it seems like Silicon Valley would never change. But history has a habit of surprising everyone. On November 30, 2022, OpenAI released a product called ChatGPT. At first glance, it looked incredibly simple, just a web page with a text box. You typed a question and it answered in the best way. Within hours, the internet couldn't stop talking about it. Within 5 days, over 1 million people had already signed up to ChatGPT. And in that moment, Silicon Valley realized something terrifying. This wasn't just another app. It was the beginning of a technological revolution. And that was the moment every tech giant started looking over its shoulders. And welcome to Chapter 2, the 5 days that changed everything. If you had opened ChatGPT on the day it was launched, you would think this is pretty cool. You ask to write an email, it writes one in seconds. You ask to solve a math problem, it explains every step. You ask to write code, it builds an entire program. It almost felt like a magic, where millions were amazed. While millions were amazed, executives inside world's biggest tech companies were terrified. They weren't looking at ChatGPT as a chatbot, they were looking at it, what it would become in future. Within 5 days, ChatGPT crossed 1 million users. Netflix took 3.5 years, Facebook took 10 months, and Instagram 2.5 months, but ChatGPT only took 5 days. Within just 2 months, ChatGPT reached 100 million monthly users, the fastest growing consumer app in the history. Silicon Valley had never seen growth like this before. Then something even more important happened and people changed their habit. Students stopped searching Google for homework, programmer asked AI to write code, and writers generated ideas in seconds. Business owners built marketing plans, lawyers summarized contracts, teachers prepared lessons, and doctors explored research. For the first time, people weren't just using AI, they were relying on it. And that's when the alarm bell starts ringing. Because of AI could answer questions directly, what would happen to search engines? For 20 years, Google had one formula: you search, links appear, and you click. And you get what you want. Search, link, click, ads. One of the most successful business models ever created. But ChatGPT introduced a dangerous new idea. What if people no longer wanted 10 different links? They just wanted one perfect answer. For example, what's the best laptop under $1,000? You type it, you get your answer. AI compares the options, explains pros and cons, and gives you a recommendation instantly. No scrolling, no advertisement, no endless clicking, just the answer. For users, that's incredibly convenient. For Google, that's a nightmare. According to reports, Google's leadership declared what insiders called a red code. It was emergency. When a trillion-dollar company enters emergency mode, you know something extraordinary is happening. And search was only the beginning. OpenAI wasn't even trying to replace just one product. It was positioning itself to transform almost every industry that depends on human knowledge. They weren't fighting a chatbot, they were fighting the future itself. Chapter 4: Microsoft's billion-dollar gamble. Long before the world had heard of ChatGPT, one company saw what everyone else missed, and that company was Microsoft. Back in 2019, when OpenAI was still a relatively unknown research lab, Microsoft invested $1 billion into the company. Many thought the investment was incredibly risky. OpenAI wasn't profitable, it didn't have millions of users, it didn't have a consumer product at that time. From the outside, it looked like Microsoft was betting billions on an uncertain future. But Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella wasn't investing in what OpenAI was. He was investing on what it could become. And that decision would reshape the entire technology industry. As OpenAI continued developing larger and more powerful AI models, it needed something very few companies could provide: computing power. Training advanced AI isn't like running a normal app. Thousands of GPUs, massive data centers, and enormous electricity. The cost runs into billions of dollars. Very few organizations can afford that. Microsoft could. But Microsoft could. Through Azure, Microsoft gave OpenAI access to one of the world's largest computing infrastructure. It wasn't just writing checks, it was providing the fuel that powered OpenAI's growth. Then came ChatGPT. The product exploded almost overnight. Suddenly, Microsoft's billion-dollar gamble looked like one of the smartest investments in tech history. But Microsoft didn't stop there. It began integrating the technology across its entire ecosystem. GitHub Copilot helped developers to write code faster. Microsoft Word could draft documents. Excel analyzed complex data. PowerPoint generated presentations. Teams summarized meetings. Even Bing was rebuilt around AI. For years, Microsoft was the stable giant, reliable, profitable, but not exciting. Then, almost overnight, it became one of the biggest leaders in artificial intelligence. Google scrambled to respond. Microsoft was already miles away ahead. The partnership gave OpenAI the agility of a startup combined with resources of a trillion-dollar corporation. That's an incredibly dangerous combination. Startups move fast but lack money. Big companies have money but move slowly. And OpenAI had both. It could innovate rapidly while relying on Microsoft's infrastructure to scale globally. That changed the balance of power in Silicon Valley. But then, just when everything seemed perfect, something happened that nobody expected. In November 2023, the unthinkable occurred. OpenAI's board suddenly fired CEO Sam Altman. No warning, no detailed explanation, just fired. The face of the AI revolution was gone overnight. The internet exploded with speculation, secret disagreement, power struggle, something gone wrong, chaos and chaos. For a moment, it looked like OpenAI might collapse from within. But what happened next shocked the entire world. Instead of destroying OpenAI, The crisis made it even stronger. Chapter 6: The real reason why every tech giant is afraid of OpenAI. The answer is simple. They are not fighting over today's technology, they are fighting over tomorrow's technology. Think about how you use technology today: food in one app, flights in another, photos elsewhere, and documents somewhere else. Your digital life is spread across dozens of apps and websites. Now imagine a future where none of that exists. You simply tell an AI what you want, and you get. Example: book me the cheapest flight to Tokyo next month, and confirmation sent to your mail. Create a professional presentation for tomorrow's meeting. Reply to all my mails, and it does. Edit my video, add subtitle, create a thumbnail, and upload to YouTube. No switching between apps, no searching, no learning complicated software, just one conversation. The company behind that AI won't just own another app, it will become the gateway to the digital world. And history has shown what happens to companies that control the gateway. Microsoft controlled PCs, Google controlled search, and Apple controlled smartphones. Now imagine owning the platform that controls everything. And that's why this race matters so much. This isn't about building a better chatbot. It's about building the next operating system for humanity. Some experts believe we are moving towards artificial general intelligence, AGI. Unlike today's AI, AGI could learn, reason, and solve problems across nearly every domain like a human, but faster. It could transform medicine. It could revolutionize education with personalized tutors for every student. Reshape science, engineering, and business. But it raises difficult questions. Who controls such powerful technology? How should it be governed? How do we ensure it benefits everyone, not just a selected few? They aren't science fiction questions, they are debated by government, researchers, and CEOs right now. At the center of many of those conversations is OpenAI. Whether OpenAI ultimately dominates isn't guaranteed. Google has enormous resources. Microsoft has unmatched enterprise reach. Meta is investing aggressively. Apple is integrating AI everywhere. New competitors keep emerging: Anthropic, Grok, Nvidia, and the race is far from over. But one thing is certain: OpenAI forced the world's biggest companies to rethink about their future. It accelerated the AI revolution by years and transformed AI from niche topic into the most important technological race of our generation. So the next time you open ChatGPT, remember this: you are not just using a chatbot, you are witnessing the beginning of a new era, an era that could redefine how we work, learn, create, and live. They are competing to shape the future of civilization itself, and that's why OpenAI terrifies every tech giant. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe by Sachinz, and we will explore stories behind the world's biggest companies every week. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.